Hi, everyone. It's a little bit smaller group than yesterday. Yesterday we had quite a packed house. But I'm really pleased to be able to have the chance to chat with all of you guys today about PayPal apps. So my name is Ken Demarest. I'm the Director of Product Management, pardon me. Awesome's Director of Product Development. I'm the Director of Product Management for PayPal apps. And let me start off by just reviewing quickly what we're going to talk about. I'll talk about what it is. I'll talk about why you should care about PayPal apps, what the business considerations are, and then Awesome will give a little bit of a technology overview to help you understand the process of putting one together, what it's like. And then we'll have some demos by some of our partners. And after that, I'd like to have a good Q&A. So, again, I'm Ken. Awesome will speak next. Let me start with a description of what PayPal apps is. It's not important to own and control your own .com website. You don't need one. Why do I say that? There are some companies that have done quite well. Let me take Zynga as an example. And they have not driven their revenue through a .com website. They've done it by having a presence on an other well-traveled location that had a traffic match to what they offered. And Zynga, over the course of, 4 years maybe, has grown to $500 million in revenue by not owning their own .com website. PayPal apps is like this. With the PayPal app, you embed your own idea in PayPal's web presence or other presences that I'll announce at the 3 o'clock discussion. And monetize them, monetize your own great ideas. So let me talk a little bit about why you might care. PayPal has, as you can see, 224 million accounts. We drive pretty significant traffic. We're continuing to see strong growth. It's a well-traveled website. And of course, getting in front of all of those customers has a lot of value. But also, PayPal is a brand that is very well trusted. And I think that being associated with that can also add a lot of value to apps being developed by developers. So, once you've decided to make one, how do you choose your app? Well, you want to find something that is going to be highly relevant to the customer, something that's adjacent to things that PayPal already does. Remember, PayPal serves consumers, and it also serves merchants, and it also serves people who are hybrids, part-time sellers. And you might have an app that appeals to all of those, but even if your demographic is only one of them, you're still looking at millions and millions of people. And even sub-segments within those can easily be millions in size. The other key thing that every app has to have, besides the core value prop for whatever segment you're serving, it needs to have a reason to bring the user back in so that they're returning again and again. When users use PayPal, they come back to the website over and over again to check on transactions, to send money, to look at how things are going with their account. And one thing I really want to emphasize is that your ideas are critical to this succeeding. PayPal has a certain way of thinking, right? We have our own interests, our own directions, our own concerns. PayPal will never see the market the way you see it. Your particular perspectives your perceptions, your ideas about how to address what you see, those are critical to apps being successful. And so I want to emphasize to everyone in this room how important it is to be vocal about your ideas. Let us know. We want to hear. If you can visualize something that could really add value, we want to know about it. And I'm really serious about that. In fact, I'm so serious, I'm going to tell you my cell phone number right now. I want you to give me a call. 415-342-9731. I think this is going to go up on YouTube. But that's okay. 415-342-9731. Give me a call. Tell me what you need to succeed. I'll listen. I want to know. Once you figured out what app you're going to make, how are you going to promote it? We've got a highly visible marketplace. We've got an app tray. We rotate featured apps down on the tray. But in the future, there are more things coming. Deeper integrations. And again, at 3 o'clock, I'll talk about some of the nuances of that. And we'll talk about more venues than just PayPal.com. Then, of course, you want to make a great app. Everyone in this room is, almost everyone in this room is a developer. You guys know the drill. Ease of use, great look and feel. Make it convenient for the user so that there's extremely low friction. And that's a big part of the value proposition that PayPal Apps is offering. The user's already on PayPal. And if you can be just one click away, everything they can do can be more convenient. And of course, try to make sure your app is connected. Leverage the PayPal capabilities, our data, our services, our APIs, so that you're giving users an experience that they couldn't really have anywhere else. And that's a winning formula. And finally, of course, you want to be able to monetize your app. Right now, we have limited billing, but in the long run, in 2011, we're going to have a number of different billing models. And I wouldn't want to presume, because I don't know what app ideas will come forward, what your appropriate monetization model should be. But I would put out there that a freemium model where you offer users something for free that does deliver real value to them, it helps make their decision for when they need to upgrade and get to that next level of fantastic functionality. So a freemium model can be very compelling, and it's worked in a number of markets, and it's worked for apps in a very proven way. So at this point, I'm going to wrap up. I'll remind you again about the 3 o'clock meeting and hand over to Asim Razak, our Director of Product Development. And at the end, we'll have some time for some Q&A.
All right, we'll do a quick handoff here.
Yes, I hope you'll pardon us while we fumble around with the one and only microphone. Sorry, Asim.
Don't undress.
All right, there you go.
I think this goes this way. All right. Can you guys hear me? Okay, thanks. So thanks, Ken, for going through all the great reasons that our developer community should be looking at PayPal apps for. So I'm going to be going through some of the technical overview for PayPal apps. Before I do that, I want to cover a couple of things. So last year was our first conference at Innovate, and we launched our platform. And we launched with a number of foundational APIs that we made available to you guys, our developer community, to really do innovation based on our core engine. And we've seen a huge ramp up on that. We have 1,000 applications, 50,000 developers. And we made a commitment that we will continue to provide you additional capabilities and tools to build applications that you can monetize, our community, our consumers can use. So we really believe, and we're very excited, that PayPal Apps is the next step in the evolution of our platform. So you guys probably saw the demo that Osama did on FreshBooks, and that's one great example of how somebody who's a merchant, they can bring invoicing into PayPal. They have transactions there. they can effectively bill. What you see here is the application concept. So Terapeak, who's one of our great partners here, who will be demoing at the end of the session, they built an application where if you have a transaction history and you need to slice and dice that data, PayPal today does not have that capability. But Terapeak has built a lot of great insight into your business, your transaction history that you can leverage to enhance your business further. So what you see here, let me get the clicker real quick, is PayPal.com, the application running here, and the separation really is that green bar up there. It's this box, which we call a gadget or a component. So what fuels this box? The technology behind PayPal apps is based on the open social framework. And this is a framework that allows you to develop web components based on HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So if you build it once, you can actually leverage it cross-platform in areas where the framework is supported. There is a lot of industry support for it. So you can see a number of great companies that are behind this, including Google, eBay, Yahoo. And PayPal is really happy to be part of this consortium. So the gadget works anywhere. Once you've developed it, it's embedded within the PayPal container. So how would you go about doing this? Conceptually, it's very simple. What's a PayPal or a simple gadget, right? It's an XML file. All you have to do is provide a couple of tags. So over here, we'll just do an obligatory Hello World example. So you define your module. In this case, there is a simple preference, which is the title, Hello World. You could specify the author, a couple of other parameters. And in the content, which is specified as HTML, you have Hello World inlined. On the gadget side, gadgets are of two types, the URL and the HTML type. And PayPal only supports HTML type because of security reasons, and we'll talk through that briefly here. So once you have this, it just is deployed, and it should print out Hello World. Simple as that. So let's spend a little bit of time on the security model. PayPal prides itself on its fraud, risk, and security models, the fact that we are safe and secure. We are available in 190 countries, 24 currencies across the globe. And we are extending the same safety and security for PayPal apps as well. If you're working with our APIs today, you're probably already familiar with the application ID concept. So what an application ID is that it uniquely identifies your particular app. And in PayPal apps, we will have the same concept. All communication across the board is SSL-based, whether that's between the gadget or PayPal, that's between the gadget server or the hosted server. And additionally, even though the gadget server is on the PayPal side and within the PayPal walls, we're making sure that the domain that it runs on is separate from PayPal.com to provide for the additional security. All third-party calls are proxied through the gadget server. And we're also leveraging a technology called Kaha that has been developed by Google because JavaScript, HTML, and CSS are inherently, there is security issues there. So we want to make sure we have that additional barrier there where any type of JavaScript that might cause issues or security holes does not get through. And some examples of that would be the opening of the window or some event management. If you've been to some of our Tech Playground sessions, there is a lot more detail that we go into, and they're also available on x.com. All remote calls back to the hosted server have to go to one domain only. So we need to make sure that you're not making calls to multiple domains. So that's the summary of the security overall. So now we've talked about a few concepts. Let's look at how the gadget gets rendered. So you saw the Hello World HTML spec. This spec deployed on the gadget server is interpreted by the gadget server. Additionally, Kaha will look at any JavaScript, HTML, or CSS that does not have the right security and filter for that. And this will generate the HTML and JavaScript and CSS. And finally, this will render into a frame on PayPal.com along with the rest of the content. So going back to the PayPal apps concept, the Terapeak app being rendered into this iframe with the PayPal content around it. So you've seen some demos. You're probably talking to people here. You have some ideas. And you really think that, hey, I've got the next big killer app that I can put on PayPal.com that can ultimately be available to our 90 million active users and our 212 million plus users across the globe. So what's the process? So the process is you create the gadget, and then you go to x.com, and you have to just save the gadget. So it'll ask for some information. You can upload the code there. And from that point on, you just get into this iteration cycle. So as you evolve your idea, as you evolve the code, you'll test it and push it to Sandbox. So Sandbox is a pre-production environment. So if you're leveraging APIs like adaptive payments, transaction history, you can be in an environment where you can look at the actual gadget, operate within PayPal.com, and see if it makes sense. Once you've refined the idea, you work through the code, you feel like you're ready for the first version of your application, what you need to do is submit that application. And that application will go through a vetting and approval process. And some of the things to keep in mind for that process are, these gadgets are now on PayPal.com. So certainly we take user experience very seriously. We want to make sure that they make sense in the context of PayPal, they make sense for our users, and there is that level of integration there. Of course, we'll be looking at security closely as well. So the more you can do in terms of how this gadget is deployed or the hosted server is deployed on your side, I think the better the chances are. So once the review is done, your app is approved, you'll be live on PayPal.com in front of our user base and see that dream come true of your great app being out there. So here are some of the upcoming capabilities that we're thinking about. As Ken mentioned, we're very interested in getting your feedback. We're launching this in beta for reasons that we get this in front of you and get your comments on how we can really evolve this to a point where our developer community, our user community, can really make the most benefit out of it. So here are some of the things we're thinking about. We're launching this for all the folks here who are attendees at the Innovate conference. If you log into PayPal.com today, you should be able to see that app tray that has 11 applications that our partners have built. If for some reason you were not enabled, we have an email that you can send to and then get enabled. The next step is, of course, making sure that we get a cookbook together to make it simpler. The open social framework, since it's a consortium, it has a lot of support, has a lot of documentation and sample code that you can look through. But we want to make sure that we give you the toolkits and the capabilities to put these modules and components very quickly. So things like an Eclipse plugin are things to look forward to. Types of app discovery. I think Ken will talk a little more at 3 o'clock about this. But we're starting with the app tray. Since this is beta, we'll be looking at feedback from you guys and see if there are other ways of these apps manifesting themselves on PayPal.com. Deeper embedding and API integration and data. It's very important to us that you guys are able to build rich applications. And rich applications require greater capability, more integration. So we're definitely looking at providing more access to data so you can have that experience that you can build for the end user. And of course, additional ways to monetize. So we highly encourage a freemium model. You can certainly monetize your application if you have payments embedded in your app today. But we will be providing some billing options in the future, in the 2011 roadmap that we're looking at, where you can do recurring payments or subscription or one-time payment. So please feel free to provide feedback. I think Ken gave his cell phone. For me, email works better. It's the letter A at x.com. So send it to me. Very interested in your experience building this. Spend some time getting used to the tools and capabilities, and let us know how you, what the feedback is there. So I think with that, we have our great partners here, Shipwire, Plastic Jungle, and Terapeak, who will be doing a live demo of these applications.
Thanks, Asim. I'm Phil Gindi. I'm the head of product at Shipwire. And before the demo, let me just tell you a little bit about our company. E-commerce has really matured in the last 15 years. And it's been amazing to see the evolution of platforms that are really geared at making some of the complexities easy, such as what PayPal does for payments. However, shipping is still a challenging aspect, especially for small and medium-sized businesses. And when I talk about shipping, I'm talking about the broad act of taking from the time orders are taken from customers to get physical product out to the end user, and potentially even dealing with returns. And that's where we at Shipwire have been focusing our efforts. We've been trying to build a platform that can essentially provide the same level of efficiencies and automation and buyer experience as small and medium-sized companies that Fortune 500 companies have access to. Over the last few years, we've built a global warehouse network that's available on demand. So an SMB can tap into our warehouses in the US, in Canada, and in the UK. We've also built a software layer that automates the order processing. We allow them to connect to over 50 e-commerce platforms or shopping carts. Once the orders come in, they get routed to the most optimal warehouse location. We'll do real-time packing, address validation, all of the kind of heavy lifting that basically the merchant no longer has to do. And then we'll allow them to project their brand in a great way by having a customized shipping label, having customer notification, delivery confirmation, all of that. And we're essentially an infrastructure play. It doesn't look like Shipwire is part of the mix. A month ago at TechCrunch Disrupt, we announced Shipwire Anywhere, where we're essentially taking that same software layer and allowing you to define your shipping location. And so with Shipwire Anywhere, you will actually be doing the shipping, but taking advantage of our software automation to make that easy. And you can use both. And here at Innovate, we're really excited to announce Shipwire PayPal application, where you'll essentially get that software automation and be able to easily handle your PayPal transaction shipping right from within PayPal. Let me show you what that looks like. And I think it's worth mentioning that this is actually Shipwire running on PayPal production servers. So I'm just going to log into this PayPal account. And as it's coming up, I think it's important to mention that the installation of this application takes seconds. And that's, I think, one key thing is in thinking about your applications, how can you make the setup easy to the user? So in our case, basically, they can get up and running in just a couple seconds. I'm going to bring up the application. I'll actually bring it up in full page view. And what we're doing here is we're pulling from all the transactions in this account holder's account, all the transactions that look like they require shipping. And you'll see that we'll actually keep track of where they're at in the shipping flow. So we're providing a very focused workflow to make the process of taking the orders, printing labels, and then marking them shipped, that whole automation, highly streamlined. So you can see I've already got one order that's in the review, the first step, but I'm going to take a second order in that flow. And so I'll initiate review on that. There we go. And we'll go to that first step. So you see I've got two orders here, and this is where I can talk a little bit about some of the automation that we're doing. So you can see that the two orders have gone, and we've picked a different carrier for them. The top one is going UPS ground. That's more optimal for heavier shipment. The bottom one is going USPS. We're going to optimize across all available carriers. The other thing that we've done is this bottom transaction actually had a different zip code, and it was an incorrect zip code. We've automatically corrected it. If it was not correctable we would actually flag it for the seller to review. And then the other piece of automation is you saw me bring this Bob Cart order in, and we actually have automatically quoted it. And that's because we've actually seen this order processed before. And so we've seen these goods, we kind of have, or are able to estimate what kind of box that order might go in. If you're not happy with the way we've estimated, you can change it, and then we can remember that setting for future orders. So this is all towards making that whole process of managing your orders a whole lot more optimal. I'm going to go ahead, mark these orders reviewed. And the second step is essentially just printing shipping labels for these orders. So I'm going to go ahead and create the labels. We're actually using PayPal's adaptive payment APIs here to automatically draw the required funds from this user's account. So I'm going to go ahead and generate the labels. And if we went into the overview, you'd actually see that we've pulled the funds for this user. And then the last step is just wait until the labels are printed. It'll just take a couple seconds. You can see one label is ready. The other should be here soon. So essentially we're giving the sellers a great workflow tool to make this processing easy and highly optimized. So I'm going to actually just show you what the labels look like. So there's two transactions. We are going to output them in a multi-page PDF so it can be very conveniently printed. On the right, you have a very professional-looking packing list. On the left, you have the label. And the actual from name can be customized, so we really allow sellers to project their brand. And in addition, there's additional capabilities where the seller can log into the Shipwire account that we've created for them, where they have some more advanced capabilities, some set and forget settings that could allow them to turn on delivery confirmation email, shipping confirmation. So that's kind of a quick overview of what we've built. Obviously, there's a lot more things that we could do with this application, but we're hugely excited that we've had the opportunity to build on top of PayPal. And one thing we'd love to see is if any of you as developers have ideas for your own PayPal apps, you see a need for shipping as a service, or for your own applications, if you see some opportunities to integrate with Shipwire, we have open APIs. Please visit us at www.shipwire.com. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I'm Steve Brev. I'm the head of product at Plastic Jungle. What I'd like to talk about today is an exciting new app that we've developed with PayPal. Plastic Jungle is essentially a service that allows consumers to exchange gift cards for other forms of currency. If you go to plasticjungle.com today, you'll notice that you can exchange gift cards for other gift cards, social currency, cash. And now with PayPal, and PayPal apps specifically, you can exchange gift cards for Plastic Jungle credits immediately and instantly. We're really excited about that. So this application is enabling consumers to basically give choice to every gift card that they have. So you can imagine you have a gift card. Not only can you spend that gift card at the issuing merchant, but you can actually now exchange it directly into PayPal and use it at any merchant that accepts PayPal. Pretty exciting. PayPal's also enabled us to build a really clean user experience, which I'll walk through in a second, and then as well as be accessible to millions of customers directly through PayPal. So why don't I walk through the application here real quick. All right, so as it's loading up, so Similar to Shipwire, the application is actually pre-installed. So the application process for us is essentially 2 clicks. It's super easy, super quick. If you notice before I launch this that the PayPal balance here is 0. So I'm actually going to take a live Target gift card and swap it for PayPal credit. So I'm going to load this application here in full page view. We have a really simple process. So the first step is really just entering the gift card merchant and card number. So as that's loading up, one thing to note, we're accepting today 50 of the top retailers in the exchange. Quickly over the next couple of weeks and months, we'll be accepting hundreds. So keep an eye open for that. So what we did here is we actually took the gift card number. We went off to Target. We did a dynamic balance check on that card. So in the case where maybe you have this is a brand new card, obviously, for $25, but in the case where the card has a varying balance, it's a remnant card, et cetera, we'll pull that balance directly from the retailer. And then what we'll do is we'll run it through our pricing engine. So here we extend an offer for $23 on that gift card. So we'll accept that offer. And then what we're going to do is we're going to ask for some basic consumer information. The vision of our application is actually to work closely with PayPal when this information is available and basically not have to ask the customer for it. And I'm basically going to submit here. And then what this is doing now is actually posting to the PayPal account. It's that quick. So you can see that the payment's been made. And if you go to the PayPal account, you'll see the $23 posted. So if anyone has any questions, we're actually in the Partner Pavilion. Stop by, and we'd love to chat. Thanks.
Hello, everyone. I'm Andrew Succo, co-founder and CTO of Terapeak. And what we've done for the past few years is help eBay sellers analyze the eBay marketplace. But with Terapeak for PayPal, what we want to do is help PayPal sellers lose the spreadsheet. As you may know, when you're selling and accepting money with PayPal, you have a long list of transactions in your business. And as you grow your business, you'll go from one transaction a day or per week to hundreds of transactions. And it's just hard to scale when you're analyzing your business. You have to go off and work with maybe someone in your controller group to be able to then produce, how much money we've made this month versus last month and how my business has grown. So our hope is, and what we've realized with PayPal, if I log in here, we hope that people can then instantly, through the App Store, actually sign up and share that permission to analyze their business. Bear with me. New keyboard. So the onboarding process is really simple. When you're in the App Store, you click, I agree to sign up for this application and share the ability for Terapeak to analyze my sales for my business. You'll then have this widget view and capability to go right into Terapeak and analyze your business at an overview level. So you'll be able to see your total sales, how many payments you've had in the last 30 days, 90 days, 60 days. It's a seamless, secure experience for the user. They can quickly get the information and research that they need to be able to manage their business successfully now from within the App Store in a seamless experience. We're really excited about that. So I will go to full pages as well. And what we've done for the widget kind of smaller view is we've taken a component of our larger application just for today to be able to showcase how you can reuse and recycle some of your code to provide really valuable reports up front in the widget view that are familiar to the end user. You can see here, let me just change to, let's say, this month. I can quickly change the date range, get information that I need about my business. This information is anonymous, so it could be your business, it could be any business in theory. You can see your total sales, you can see a 30-day trend of your business, and the most recent 5 transactions. Now, as you're going to manage your business, you'll want to be able to say, well, what are my buyers doing? What is, what's my average price for some of my female buyers versus my male buyers? So what we can do is, in your report, go to your gender report. So instead of having to go and do all the heavy lifting, we can simply, I'll scroll down here. Simply see our total sales by gender. And what we've done is actually look at all the different names of our buyers and infer that with our technology what gender they can be. So you can compare your average price, your return rates, all that type of information by your demographics. Another interesting item that we often get questions about is, where are my buyers? Where in the world can they be? So in this example, and as you can see, Flash is turned off, so we're using Google Charts for this example. You can see where in the world all your sales are coming from. We can actually scroll down here a bit and see by country where these different sales are coming from. You can say, what is my fee in that part of the world versus this in the U.S. Or in what part of the states am I paying more for my fees or less for my fees or my taxes, etc. So we provide geographic, demographic data for all these different reports. You can, as well in this report, you can see we actually analyze the category your items come from. So if we see that a transaction is from eBay or from Etsy, we actually will go and grab information about that transaction and say, hey, your eBay sales from items that have a guaranteed return rate for accepting returns for your products, well, that gives you a 5% lift on your average price. So that is a good option. So we can actually make that type of direct connection with the data seamlessly for the end user, which is really valuable when they go to analyze their business and make decisions, which is what it's all about. We also have a fast transaction kind of report where they can actually go through those transactions and they can edit the data and recategorize their transactions, say what source the transaction came from. Let me scroll down again here. You can say what eBay said it came from, in general, what other marketplaces it might have come from, or if it came from your website, and quickly edit that and hit save. Right? And so now that data will be updated, and you'll have reports about your website sales versus your marketplace. We also have really nifty reports that help you set goals for your business. So you can say, I want to grow my sales beyond, let me scroll down here again, beyond $800,000 like we did last month. Well, let's go to $900,000 this month. And now what you'll do is you'll have that goal, you'll see your progress towards that at the end of the month, and you and your team will get a notification when that's done. So that's a bit about our business, and now it's all easy and secure inside of the PayPal App Store. Thanks. Bye-bye.
So I think with that, we'll open it up for Q&A. I think we ran a little over for the demos, but if the runners in the back can have the mic given to folks who have questions.
Sure.
I'm first? Yeah. I just was wondering about the approval process. If you can just maybe shed some light on the criteria you guys will be looking at when approving or declining, potential applications, PayPal apps.
So there are some basic criteria around legality and that sort of thing. I think everyone in the room can assume those. From my perspective as a product manager, I would like to keep the gates pretty wide open in terms of what we accept. I don't think we'll be accepting anything that is...
I want to step here for them.
I don't think we want to accept anything that is not sufficiently adjacent to, to commerce or consumer experience and that sort of thing. But on the topic of what the app itself really is, we are likely to show a fair amount of flexibility. Now, when we come to the end of the process, a lot of it will orient around how the app behaves. If it's an app that shows your company logo, it says click here and leads to your website, I don't think we're gonna be very, feeling very positively about that one. But having said that, there will be standards of behavior published, and we're going to try to keep the gates pretty open. let that. We really think it's an ecosystem that needs a lot of diversity to flourish. Any other thoughts or questions? I know it's getting a little bit late. We've had a big conference here in the middle.
So is that mic on?
So the question is, could we talk a little bit more about deeper embedding and integration? Partly I will save some of that for 3 o'clock. It'll be the very next session. But to give a quick overview, I can certainly imagine a situation where someone is in PayPal.com itself on one of our really highly trafficked web pages, and they're using apps within the page, integrated into the page. So I think I can get a little bit more specific at 3, but that's not a bad beginning.
And I think just to add to that, we're starting with a core set of APIs, and the goal is just over time to increase that richness to allow for deeper integration. Other questions? So there's one.
Go ahead, and I'll just repeat your question if it's. Oh, am I missing? I'm sorry. I apologize. Was there someone already waiting up here? Please, if you're not, go ahead.
This is maybe more of a comment than a question, but I noticed that as people were demoing their apps, that the top section of the screen with the PayPal headers was always sort of in the way. You always had to scroll down to see the app. I wonder if you had any plans to change that or make it collapsible.
Yeah. So from the perspective of how to have PayPal, be present and yet not intrusive, we're definitely open to looking at ways to not occupy screen real estate needlessly and let the app be seen. But I would also go to the earlier question of what kinds of deeper integrations. It could be that we'll see both models happen, where for apps that primarily take over the screen, we will see a little bit less Chrome, PayPal Chrome. And for deeper integrations, we'll still see just as much because it's all woven in together. Does that make sense?
This one here.
You've demonstrated 3 great apps today. Congratulations to those guys. How will I, as a consumer, know about those apps? Is there a filtering system that's going to pop them up to me?
You're also asking about my 3 o'clock talk.
Okay.
But I'm more than happy to share a little bit about it. Discovery is critical. And today, discovery is primarily through what we're calling the App Gallery, although I think our eventual branding may be to call it the App Marketplace. That can be a good way to gain exposure as long as there's a very clear way to get to that App Gallery. That's one piece of it. And the toolbar on the bottom exposes apps with a sort of featured app section on the bar itself. But to be clear, that toolbar is under discussion and it'll go through testing. And if it doesn't come out of the other side with good testing, we're going to revamp the way it works. So I feel that you really drive the best adoption when you are right there at the moment of the consumer's or the customer's intent. They want to do this, and they see the app that can do it, right? So that's the very high-level strategic direction that I think we need to point things.
Real quick in terms of timeline, this is a developer-focused launch, so we are making it available in terms of consumers to this audience at Innovate, and we'll incrementally add. But we're really reaching out to the developer community to see what can be developed, so you guys are ready when that big consumer launch happens with your applications.
Yeah. And also on-site presence doesn't need to be the only venue where we expose to consumers. I can't make any explicit commitments about what kind of marketing there might be yet because we're still planning a lot of that.
So we're out of time. We can take questions outside. Please feel free to send email to paypalapps@x.com. If you have not been enabled as a beta user, please send an email and we'll make sure that you do.
And
Thank you.
The next session is in 2014, I believe. That's the location, so it's just a couple doors down for the 3 o'clock.
All right, thank you guys.